My name is Joe and welcome to FPL First, giving you the latest news, reviews and current views on everything EPL and FPL. Coming up. Welcome to a new episode of FPL First. If you're new to the channel, thanks for coming and watching. Today I'm going to be doing a challenge, which I was asked to do in one of the comments in a previous video. But before I do that, I'm going to go into some transfer news, which I think could affect the FPL, but more importantly, EPL teams, especially considering now that they can't make any signings. So if they lose a player now and they can't make any signings, then it could be a problem for certain teams. Now, to begin with, the biggest story recently is the fact that PSG has made an offer of £100 million for Erikson. Now, this is massive news. Reason number one, Tottenham can't sign another player because the transfer window's already shut in the UK. If they lose Erikson, who, in my opinion, is their sort of the missing piece of a jigsaw if he was to go, they could be in a lot of trouble. They can't sign a new player. I don't think there's many players out there with the same sort of qualities as him. So I think that it would be a massive loss for Tottenham. And I don't think they'll be able to replace him. And even if the transfer window was open, I don't think they'll be able to replace him. Not even with that money. I think the only player that's similar to him is Coutinho right now. And they would never be able to get Coutinho, obviously. So this is massive transfer news. If it actually happens, then I honestly believe that Tottenham would struggle this season. I think that they would even struggle to get into the top 6 without Erikson in their team, because I just think he's so key to everything that they do. He gels their play together. He always provides to like Son and Kane and Lucas Moura when they're playing. He's like the person who's creating the chances. He's the flair player, if you want. That's the kind of player that England was missing in the World Cup. That kind of person that can look at what the options are and always play the right ball. So it's massive news, and yeah, obviously it's going to be something which we have to keep an eye on, because if that does happen, for example, I've got Erikson in my FPL team and I'll have to try and look for a replacement and take him out. Now, the next big news is it's kind of persistent news, is that Pogba might be going to Barcelona. Now, I don't know, this is just his agent talking, trying to get some media attention. Maybe there is some truth in that he wants to leave Man United and he wants to go to Barcelona. I think most players dream about playing for like Barcelona, Real Madrid and those kind of teams. But I think that with the Premier League shutting, I don't think that Mourinho would ever let him go. I don't think that that's a possibility. I think maybe in the January transfer window it's a possibility. But right now, I can't actually see this transfer happening. However, this news story is continuing to persist. So there is a good chance that it's going to happen. So we have to keep an eye on it. But those two players alone, Erikson and Pogba, I think a lot of people have them in their FPL teams, so it would be a big change and people would have to obviously adapt. The next person I wanted to talk about was Danny Rose. He has become out of favour at Tottenham because Davis is now considered the main left back. Danny Rose has had a difficult last few years. He's been injury prone. He obviously talked about depression as well, which, you know, it's very hard for people to understand that how can a footballer be depressed, but you know, it does happen. So he's been out of favour. I think he's looking to kind of get a fresh start, and there's been talks that he might be going to PSG or Schalke. I don't know if that's a loan deal or a transfer deal, but that's the rumour right now. Next, and a player I don't understand why Chelsea want to do this, but it's Loftus-Cheek. Why they want to loan him out again? It doesn't make sense to me. He had a great season at Crystal Palace last year. He proved himself in the Premier League as a good player, standout player. You know, him and Zaha last season for Crystal Palace are really good. And he comes back and you're thinking, you know, good summer with England. He was playing a lot with them in the World Cup. Why don't Chelsea give this guy a chance? Like, he's proven himself at EPL. He's proven himself at international level World Cup. Why is he not good enough to get even a look in at the Chelsea team? It just doesn't make sense to me. Like, I just feel like the Chelsea, they're too quick to get rid of players just because they're not perfect for the first team straight away. They don't try and adjust. They don't try and, you know, adapt these younger players in. So anyway, the rumour is that he might be going to Schalke on loan. Good for Schalke. I mean, I think he would excel in the Bundesliga. He'll do really well. Physical player. You know, he's got skills. So good luck to him. And I think Chelsea are ridiculous not to keep him. Next, this is probably one of the weirdest rumours, but it's Rabiot to Arsenal. I don't think that's possible because the transfer window shut down. I don't think we can loan players. So the fact is Rabiot, he rejected a contract recently from PSG, and there's talks now that he's going to relight that friendship that he had with Unai Emery that when he was at PSG. I can't see this happening now because I don't think we can sign anyone even on loan. But there's possibilities in the January transfer window. But I mean, if Arsenal's position is low down the league by January, then why would he want to come to Arsenal? I mean, there's plenty of big teams that would take him, and I'm sure that he'd happily fit in. So this is just a rumour, and I can't see it happening. Another player I don't understand is Chelsea's Bakayoko. They signed him only last season as a central midfielder who was supposed to be the rock in the middle defensively. And now they've gone and loaned him out to AC Milan the next season after just buying him. To me, it doesn't make sense. He's still quite young, so I know that he's got a lot of progression to do, and it could be a good move for him in terms of his career. But I don't really understand why you'd buy someone. I think they paid like 40 million or something like that for him, and then you go loan him out the next season. It doesn't make sense to me. So I don't really understand Chelsea's transfer policy. It doesn't really make much sense. Just like Loftus-Cheek, why they keep loaning him out as well and don't just give him an opportunity. So it's another player that's gone out. And good news for Manchester United fans. De Gea has obviously signed a new contract. Great for FPL fans as well because it means that they've guaranteed to keep him all season. So if you've got him in your dream team, obviously you're nailed on for him to be starting every single week for the Manchester United in the FPL. And so that pretty much sums up the transfer news. So I want to keep an eye on the Erikson because that is a very potential lead, I guess, and it could be very interesting if he does go. It could be a big problem for Tottenham. So now it's time to go on to the challenge part of my video. I got a comment from a user called Christian Bargles. He said, do a challenge video, ! Make a team with only players from the promoted teams. So I accepted that challenge, and I'm going to now give you my top 11. So in goal, I've gone with Patricio at Wolves. He looked pretty impressive the other day against Everton. Obviously, I don't really know much about the Fulham or the Cardiff goalkeeper, but I have an idea about Patricio. And if I was to pick any goalkeeper from those three teams that got promoted, it would have to be Patricio at Wolves. Next, I'm going on to the defenders. I've gone with Christie at Fulham as one of my defenders. It's because he's got an attacking threat in him, and he's quite a flair player. He likes to attack and not just defend all the time. There's potential that he might pick up some points in the next game, but again, it's not guaranteed. I've gone also for Bamba at Cardiff because I wanted to try and be a bit fair and include some Cardiff players. He seems like the best of a bad bunch, so that's why I went for Bamba at Cardiff. And lastly, I went for Cody at Wolves. It's kind of the same reason as Christie. He's an attacking threat. He likes to get forward a little bit and has the potential to get sort of bonus points or be involved in an assist potentially. In the midfield, I've gone with Fulham's Kearney. He was crucial to Fulham last season getting promoted. He's their kind of midfield talisman. A lot of the plays go through him. He's got a good eye for a ball and also, he's potential to get assists and stuff like that. So that's why I've included him. Next, I've gone with Jota of Wolves, and I've gone for his central midfield partner as well in Neves. I think both of those, they were really good for Wolves the other day. A lot of the play goes through both of them, and there's a good chance that they'll be able to score more goals or get some more assists. And obviously, on top of that, bonus points as well because of their sort of attacking presence in the game. So, yeah, that's why I've gone for Neves and Jota. Next, I've gone for Rules at Cardiff. Similar reasons to Kearney. He's kind of like in the middle and he controls a lot of the game and he has the potential to do some good passing or get some maybe assists or anything like that. So that's why I've gone for Rules. And then my last player, which is kind of an obvious choice, I think is Sessegnon from Fulham. Last season he did really well in Championship. He had, I think, the most dribbles per game average. I think he was further than the next player by quite a lot. So he's good on the ball and he likes to attack, so that's why I've included Sessegnon in the midfield. And up front, I've gone for Wolves' Jimenez. He played really well against Everton. He grabbed himself a goal with a nice header. He looks like he could be a good player, could get a few points. So I've decided to put him in my team this week. And the next player, a lot of players have got Camera in their FPL team, but I've actually gone for Mitrovic. The reason is because he's got Premier League experience. He's come from Newcastle. And even though, they've got a hard game this weekend, he has got a proven record of scoring in the EPL. Even though it's not that prolific, he has got a record of scoring in EPL. So that's why I've gone for Jimenez and Mitrovic up front. Next, I want to talk about who I think is the key player in that top 11 that I've just picked. So I believe that Ruben Neves is possibly the best player in the bunch of 11 that I've just picked from the promoted side. The reason I say that is in his first game he got 1 goal, 1 assist. He also picked up 2 bonus points. He looked really good in that midfield. It was a great free kick for the goal. He was worth 5 and now he's worth 5.1 with the changes. And I believe that he's got a lot more to offer. And I think for that price, that I think he's a really good option for most FPL teams. So looking forward, I think that most people should keep an eye on him and he should be a potential transfer in later if you haven't already got him in your team. So yeah, definitely keep an eye on him in the near future. Anyway, so that's the end of the episode, and I hope you've enjoyed the content. If you have, support the channel by giving me a massive thumbs up, and if you want to see more future content, including my Game Week 2 preview, which I'm going to be releasing very soon, then please subscribe and hit the notification bell, just so you know when my videos are released. Okay, until that time then, cheers, peace out.